Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Tech Urvishi. In today's video, we are going to continue with ES6 concepts like let versus const, arrow function and normal function declaration. These are one of the important concepts which is still asked in interviews. Before we go to the video, don't forget to check out my interview preparation material. I've added the description below, so do check that out. Now let's get to the video. So I think you all must have heard this term ES6 a lot of time from my mouth. Like I've said this word like spread operator, array helper function, all that part. So that is what we are going to see today. So in React.js, we are majorly writing ES6, ECMAScript 6. Okay? And even in your interviews, this ES6, like if you are sitting in a React interview, they will definitely going to ask you ECMAScript 6. Like we all know JavaScript came around 1996. So there was one company called ECMA. Okay, ECMA is one company name. They standardized JavaScript as ECMAScript. Okay. So if someone says JavaScript, if someone says ECMAScript, basically it's the same thing. Okay. 6 means sixth version. Okay. For example, like every year in your laptops, every year in your mobile, some update comes. Like for Windows, latest is 11th version. For your iPhone, the latest version, iOS, the latest version is 16th. So every year some version comes because they come for the improvement. And we know JavaScript is a very loosely written language. So as an improvement, this sixth version was introduced. So in between, we have ES5, we have ES4, we have ES2, ES1. Okay, all those versions are also there. It's just that EA JavaScript means the other name you can just say ECMAScript is a standard. There's a standard they have created which like what it is going to follow. Okay. So ES6 is nothing but sixth version of JavaScript. Okay. In between you have fifth version, fourth version as well, and latest is ES13. Okay. So ES6 stands for ECMAScript. Okay, is the sixth version of JavaScript. And whenever someone is learning JavaScript, why they specifically learn ES6 is because ES6 is the second major version where a lot of changes came in JavaScript. Okay, the way we used to write JavaScript, it actually changed. Like before ES6, we used to write var keyword, okay, for creating a variable. But after ES6, we use let and const keyword to create a variable. That is how it has changed. Okay. So ES6 is also known as ECMAScript 2015 because it was introduced in 2015, or ES6, that is ECMAScript 6. Okay. So this is important to understand. ES6 is nothing but sixth version of JavaScript. And there are few features that were introduced. So when you like we all were creating variable in JavaScript with var keyword, now we created with let and const. Okay. Like we used to create a function with function keyword, but now we use arrow function. That is how changes has come. Okay. So all these are the features that were introduced in ES6. So firstly we have let and const. So in let, okay, let's create a variable. Firstly, I will show you what was the problem and how we have resolved it. Okay. So let is used to declare a variable with the block scope. So if you want to create a variable in a block scope, okay, when you create any variable in if, let's say var x equal to 20, this is having block scope. Okay, so block, this is also a block. Okay. Local scope variable you cannot use outside. For example, this is my variable x is equal to 20. I have created a block of code. Okay, block of code you can experience in if else or for loop. Okay, so here I am going to create a variable with the same name, x is equal to 30. Now I am going to console x, and here I am going to console x. Ideally outside 20 should come. Okay, ideally 20 should come because I am creating a variable in the block code. It should be 30. I am creating a variable here in outside. It's a global scope. It should be 20. Okay. You can see 30 will come in both the cases because this is a block scope variable. Okay, this is not a local scope. It's a block scope variable. That is the reason if you create any variable in if, let's say if var x equal to 20, you can access it outside as well. Okay. So what JavaScript will do here, JavaScript will take this variable x equal to 20, make it global. If the naming is same, okay, if the naming is same, it will assign that 30 to x now. Okay, so that is the reason 30 will come in both the places. So with var, you cannot create a variable with a block scope. Okay. So using let, this is resolved now. Now if you create a variable, let x equal to 9. Let's take another variable. Var y is equal to 40 and var y is equal to 90. Now if I console y here and if I console y outside, now you will see, you will get 90 and 40. Okay. So here you will get 90, here you will get 40. So let is allowing you to create a variable within the block scope. Okay. And block scope variables are the ones that you're creating if and for loops. Okay. This is the first difference between var and let. Okay. Secondly, you cannot redeclare a variable. Now redeclare means I have declared a variable var y is equal to 40. So you cannot redeclare a variable with the same name. Okay. For example, if you try to do it with the var keyword, if I console this y, you will still get the output here. Okay, you will get 100. Now if I use a let here, okay, it will give you error because it will make sure all your variables are unique. So with let you will get error. You cannot create a variable with the same name. Redeclaration is not allowed. Okay, and hoisting doesn't work. Hoisting variables created with let are not hoisted. Okay. I am creating a variable like this. Okay. So now what I will do, I will remove this var. I will initialize a variable. I will display that variable and then I will write var z. Okay, that means I am initializing, I'm using that variable and then I'm declaring. So what JavaScript will do, JavaScript will hoist my variables at the top of the current scope. Okay, so the hoist, just like we hoist the flag, right, taking something at the top. Similarly, declarations are hoisted at the top of the current scope of that variable. Okay, so if that means if you initialize a variable, use it and then you declare it, JavaScript will hoist that variable at the top. But if you try to do this with let keyword, okay, cannot access z before initialization. That means any variable created with let cannot be hoisted. They go into temporal dead zone. Temporal. Okay. So if someone asks you what is temporal dead zone, okay, when you try to create a variable with let keyword, okay, and you are trying to implement hoisting with that variable, it goes into temporal dead zone. Okay. So this is the main difference between var and let. First is it is used to declare a variable within the block scope. Okay. You can create outside as well, okay, but this was the main difference, block scope. Okay. You cannot redeclare a variable with the same name. And then hoisting will not work. Hoisting any variable created with let keyword is not hoisted. They go into temporal dead zone. Okay, this is the another difference. Now next we have const. Okay, in const this is used to declare a variable with the constant reference. When you want to create a constant variable constant reference, that time we use this. Now let's look at it. For example, within the block scope, that part is same in the block scope. Block scope point is same even here, and like whatever your let is doing, you can do the same with const. So let's say if I have a variable like this in a block of scope, I can create z like this. So whatever we are doing with let, same you can do with const 40 and 20. Okay, so you will get 40 and 20 here. Now the next difference is you cannot define the value. You cannot redefine the value. You cannot change the value here. Okay, now you will get an error. Assignment to a constant variable. Okay, so this is used to create or declare a variable with a constant. Okay, so const means constant. So now you're declaring a variable which is a constant. Okay. So this is not allowed. You cannot redefine a value. This is not allowed. Okay. With let you can do that. If you want to do y is equal to 100, you can do that. That is allowed with let. But with var also it is allowed. Okay. But with const keyword, you cannot redefine a value. Okay. You cannot reassign a value or reinitialize a value. Second difference is you cannot, this is exactly same as const. This is exactly same as let. Okay. You cannot redeclare a variable with the same name with the const keyword, and hoisting also doesn't work with const keyword. This part is exactly same. Okay. And if someone asks you what happens if these variables goes into temporal dead zone. So hoisting doesn't work, and you cannot redeclare a variable with the same name. This point is also same. This point is also same. Within the block scope is also same. But difference between let and const is you can reassign a value with the let, but with const it is not allowed. Now there is one more point here. It const keyword works little different in primitive and non-primitive data type. Okay. Primitive data types are your string, number, boolean, null, and undefined. And non-primitive will be objects and arrays. So now let's take a array. Here I will write array of 0 is equal to 100. So I'm changing this 90 to 100. And I will console this value. Ideally I should get an error because I'm trying to change something in a variable which is created with const keyword. But you will see you will get an array here. You will get 100 here. The reason is in primitive, when you declare a variable in a primitive, okay, you pass the reference and you pass the value both. Even here you are passing the reference and the value. In primitive, this is how it is treated. Let's say there will be a memory block. Okay, it will have some address. So all the variables that you create, they all have some memory block in the browser. So it will have Z is the naming I am using. It must be having some address. Address is called reference. Okay. So if someone says Z, basically they are calling this memory block. Okay, they are pointing to this memory block. In case of array, this is how array is. You will have rooms here like 90, 60, okay, 80. Now this array is, let's say, ARR. This is the English word we use, but actually it will have some address. So when you write ARR, it is actually calling that memory block. Okay. So that means that memory block, the memory block will be, let's say, 1020. So now what I'm doing, I'm removing this and I'm changing this to 100. In case of primitive, if you try to do this step, okay, it creates a total new memory block. Your address gets changed. Okay, 1012. So when you do Z is equal to 20, basically a new memory block is getting created there. In case of primitive. But when you do the step in non-primitive data type, it can be object, it can be array. The address, the reference remains same. Only the value is getting changed. That is the reason you are not getting any error here. Definitely if you try to do this, you will get an error now. If you try to change the array, complete array, okay, now you will get an error. But here you will not get error because you are not changing the reference. In case of primitive, you pass the reference and value because it's a single value, so both gets passed. So when you try to redefine a value, reassign a value, it basically creates a new Z, okay, which is having this memory and having this value. But in case of arrays, the reference remains same. Reference means the address at which that variable is placed. For example, I am living in my house, so I am having some address. Similarly, these values have some address. Okay. That is the reason it works different in primitive and non-primitive. So you can also say like const keyword, any variable created with const keyword have a constant reference, not a value. Value is not constant, reference, the address should not change. Alright. Next feature we have is arrow function. arrow function is used to create a function with a shorter syntax, simple syntax. So first difference is, let's say if I'm creating a function with a add here, this is how we create it. Now this can be written like this: add equal round brace equal and greater and equal. This is called fat arrow. This is called fat arrow. Okay. So basically you're removing function keyword. Okay. You're adding equal sign here and you're adding fat arrow here. This is how you write it. Now here you will write return this. Let's write console.log of hello for now. And here I will write console.log of hello. Okay. Function body will be same. The function calling will remain same. Only the syntax, the way you declare it, that is different. Let's keep it add data maybe. So ideally I should get 2 hello in the console. Okay, you can see I'm getting 2 hello here. One is this one is this one. So now you can write the same function with the syntax. This is the first difference that they have. Shorter syntax. Second difference is of return statement. Okay. These are, if like in interview, this is asked directly, what is the difference between function keyword, a function with a function keyword and arrow function. So this is very simple. Firstly, the shorter syntax. Okay. Second difference is of return statement. Let's say I have some return statement here, return this. And if I have a one more statement, return here. So in arrow function, if you have one single statement, okay, in the function body, and if it's return, okay, so what you can do, you can remove this return and you can write it like this. Okay, this will return this keyword. Let me explain again. Or if you are not getting this keyword, let's add hello here. And this function is returning something. Okay. So now what will happen? I will remove this return. And I will write it like this. If your function body is having single statement and that single statement is return statement, you can write it like this. This is another way of writing a shorter syntax with return keyword. Okay. If you have a single statement here, return, you cannot shift it to a single, like you cannot remove these curly brace in function keyword. So this 3 line can be written in single line. This is another difference that they have, return statement. Again, it's a syntax difference, but for the return statement. Like if this function is returning something, so you can put it in console. Okay, this function is returning something, so you can add it in console. This keyword is a part of JavaScript. So let's just return this keyword. So you can see we are getting window object in both the cases. Okay. Because this keyword refers to the owner object. So owner object of this function is the document itself. And window is the main global object we have. Okay. So both will refer to this keyword. We are getting window object. Third difference is of this keyword. Okay. Here in this case it is referring to window. Let's do one thing. Let's create an object here. Let's say I have first here and let's say full name. If I'm creating this function inside object with this syntax, comma, I am creating a function here with different syntax, let's say full, and then I'm consoling this keyword from here and this keyword from here. Initially these functions were directly in the document. Now these functions are in this object obj. And let's call these methods obj.fullname and obj.full. Now this is what we are expecting. You will see you will get window object in this case. Okay, you will get window object. The reason is in new syntax that was introduced for this one. Okay, because the new syntax of this fat arrow says if you have a this keyword inside a function which is created with arrow function, it is always going to refer to a window object. Okay, now this keyword, that syntax of this keyword is that it refers to the owner, that is removed now. Okay, that doesn't work here. So if you have a this keyword, okay, inside a function with a normal function, keyword function, then it will always going to refer to the owner of that function. But in case of this fat arrow, that is arrow function, it is always going to refer to the window object. That is the difference. Okay, this is the third difference. So if someone asks you, these are the three difference you can explain. Shorter syntax, okay, then return statement and this key. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you guys like my content, don't forget to like, subscribe and share my channel. And don't forget to check out my interview preparation material. Thank you.